All right, yeah, I think this meeting is now live. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another edition of Funnily Enough, the Sunday morning interview format show where we discuss life and everything with people with completely unfamiliar backgrounds, to me at least. I'm sure a lot of people know a lot of specific, highly qualified individuals. But for me, the people who come on the show are the people who I don't know their life story. I don't know a lot about what they did, what they do, what they're going to do with their lives. And continuing that trend, we today have my friend and fellow comic Nandini Anand from Bangalore, which I just now learned that she's from Bangalore, who's here as our guest today. And let me quickly introduce Nandini, and then I'll give you a little bit of background why I invited her so that we can set the context for this conversation. Nandi is a writer, performer, and systems thinker with a background in engineering and cognitive science. They dig into how stories, algorithms, and rituals shape power and how we can break out of top down control to build meaning from the ground up. Whether through fiction, improv, or radical pedagogy, Nandi's work is about reclaiming how we learn, decide, and imagine. Nandini, thank you so much for being part of the show.
Thank you for having me. It's an interesting show.
All right, and I just wanted to, I mean, we've talked about this, but want to make sure the audience also understands that uh, Nandini is a transgender person. And my personal experience with transgender people has been very limited, very, very, very limited.
Oh
And I
yeah.
think, huh?
Let me change my names. Usually I add pronouns in my name and somehow it's not set. Yeah.
My experience with transgender people has been extremely limited. And I wanted to understand more for my personal knowledge also. How do we interact with transgender people as fellow citizens of this country, fellow people on this planet Earth, which is why I wanted to ask Nandini to be part of the show. And she's very graciously agreed to be part of the show. So, with that, and of course, as guests, please feel free to join in, ask questions if you have anything. And I've asked Nandini to be extremely vocal if she feels that something can be spoken differently or some questions need not be asked or should be asked in a different way or interpreted in a different way to tell us directly that listen, this is something that we would not talk about like this in the transgender community, simply because we all don't know and we are here to learn, we're here to grow. So Nandini, are you still okay with that, or do you want to reframe that a little bit?
I'm fine with it actually. So typically it happens that, people, this is a very common thing that I am not, this is not particularly to you, I think. The first thing that comes to mind is transgender is not really a noun. People say
Hmm.
transgenders and I'm like, it is just adjective, dude. It's just
Okay,
transgender people, that's all.
so
I mean, it sounds like English grammar, but yeah, something else is.
all right, so learning starting already. So I should be saying transgender people or trans people instead of saying transgender. And I
Yeah.
agree with that. Fair enough. All right. So Nandini, the first thing we do in this show is we play a game. Are you ready to play a game?
Yeah, always.
I heard that you were telling us that you were super competitive. That's good to know. Now the game is very simple. I will give you a word and ask you to name a person, a proper noun, an animal, name place, a place, an animal, and a thing associated with that word. And you
Okay.
get 30 seconds to do it. Are you good?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let me set up the timer. I mean, 30 seconds is just a ballpark. You don't have to feel too pressured about it. Zero, and then
If you
30.
had known me enough, I could go faster than that.
I do. It's sometimes tough to follow what you're saying. So I'm sure you want like 15 seconds, it's done.
Yeah.
All right. So the word for you, I'm going to give you a really tough one because you said you're competitive. I'm going to go to something super duper tough for you. Okay. And other guests on this show, I give them words like table and coffee and book and all that. So for you, I'm going to give something tough. Are you okay with that?
We'll see. I don't know. Only one way to find out.
All right. The word for you is X-ray. How about that?
Mm.
And the timer starts now.
Oh shit. Okay. Uh, I don't know. Yogi Babu. Uh,
Yeah.
Yogi Babu. I don't know. That's what comes to mind. Name place, right? Uh, Place can be, I don't know, Varanasi.
Yeah.
And what's the third one?
Animal.
Animal. Blue whale.
Okay.
Done, no?
No, animal thing. You have to name a thing also.
Oh, thing. What thing? Oh God. Yeah,
Ah, so your competitive streak has been broken, my friend. Anyways,
well,
you can take. I mean, it's just a
you
game.
win some, you lose some. So
All right. That's a good attitude to have. So, why don't you explain to us why you came up with Yogi Babu and Varanasi? I can understand from Yogi, I guess, Varanasi, but why Yogi Babu in the first place?
I don't know. I feel like even before starting the game, I said my mind set into some weird political names I wanted to come up with. I actually wanted to come up with there's a UPCM, no, Yogi something something. I couldn't find the last name, so I just went with Yogi Babu, who's a Tamil comedian by the people who don't know.
Okay, so Yogi Babu is not Yogi Adityanath then. I was
I
thinking,
was yeah, I was trying to go for Yogi Adityanath's name. I couldn't remember the name, so I went with Yogi Babu, who is the Tamil comedian.
interesting, very interesting, very interesting. So then Varanasi, why Varanasi?
Because again, from Yogi Adityanath went to that
Ah,
really. But I would justify Yogi Babu makes more sense than Varanasi, frankly, if you ask me, because comedy is a good way of cutting across a lot of nonsense that we just have.
fair
Yeah.
enough. So you would have, I mean, if you had not been in that political loop in your head, you would have gone with Yogi Babu, the comedian, and then from there comedy. Okay,
I would probably have got, if I had had that, not the time pressure or loop or any of this, I'd gone with probably Vadivelu, who's more mature comedian, if you ask me.
okay.
And yeah.
All right, and finally, the name place animal. Animal, you
Oh,
said blue. And that's completely, I mean, out of the. Where did you
Blue
get
whale.
blue?
I went with the blue whale, but I just under time pressure. I just went with
All
whatever
right.
came to me. And
So,
the other reason, sorry, let me just complete. The other reason that I think I've been in this Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy mode. So I've
mhm.
been in this mindset of the dolphins and the whales know much better than humanity mindset.
Right. So you do like science fiction then? You like reading
Yeah,
science
yeah, quite a bit of science fiction. I don't watch so much as read and listen to audiobooks,
fiction?
but I think I haven't explored new ones in a while. I need to get back.
Interesting. So now maybe for the next few minutes, you could tell us a little bit about your history, like what brought you to where you are today, and what's the future for you. Then we can start the actual Q&A and
Uh,
conversation.
any particular context? I just go with.
Where you were born, what you studied, anything.
Oh yeah, okay. So I usually introduce myself as Nandini. I am usually like 50% from TN Tamil Nadu and 25% from Bangalore and another 12% from Allahabad and stuff. Yeah, now it's Prayagraj. Okay, actually not 12% from Allahabad, but yeah, okay. Let me get to the point. I grew up in a small town near Madurai, and I studied in Madurai for 4 years back in 2000 to 2004. Then when it came straight to Bangalore, worked here for a couple of 2.5 to 3 years almost, which didn't go great. I ended up with a very major depression and a pretty much serious disease. Pretty much almost, yeah, I came close to dying. Let's put it that way. And yeah, I recovered from it, but that put me out of working for a while. So I went to do a master's, and I had some interest in AI and psychology both, which led me to cognitive science, which I ended up studying in Allahabad. Yeah, so I finished the 2 years, graduated right in the middle of 2009 recession. I had picked up Python for my thesis, so I tried to get a job into Python. I went to Mumbai, actually worked there for a year. Yeah, so I've been working with the Python and software engineering roles and then data science roles for a while after that, since then.
All
And
right.
it's again been roaming around. I spent 5 years in Hyderabad. Yeah.
So, I mean, the big topic of conversation is the fact that you identify as a woman, though you were born as a man. So,
Oh, yeah.
what is that? What is that like? Did you know from childhood that there's something that I don't feel correct from within? Is that how it was for you?
Um, I would say especially looking back, it makes a lot more sense that I had a lot of what do you call flags, you can call it. But none of that really struck or crystallized. In fact, I would say 10 years ago, before I even got married, and yeah, the thing is, I was in Chennai. I had this momentary doubt, which for a while led me to actually not just dismiss it as another fetish and go actually explore and seek help. And I went and saw this therapist a counselor who are in Chennai. I don't want to name names again. I'll get in trouble. And I won't even fault them. Frankly, they were just following what was the world it's called WPOT guidelines, which basically said at that point it said for any trans person to decide they want to transition or start hormones or whatever, they had to go and live with the transgender community at that point for 1 year or something to make decisions. That was the whatever WPOT standards was
You have to
at that
give up
point.
your family. You have to move away from your family and live with the trans
It's not
community.
about away. It's not about living with the community as much as living as the desired gender. So
Okay.
you have to. So imagine this, okay? 10 years back, 15 years back, my beard was all way different. It will be
Mhm.
very obvious. I cannot hide them. So the medical standards was that you have to go live as a present as a feminine person socially, irrespective of what your looks like.
Mm.
And it doesn't make sense because it's also increases social dysphoria. This is actually, if you look at people who, I don't know, have you seen how many trans people you have seen with beards and mustaches? A lot of them have dysphoria about it, but they can't do anything till hormones
Mhm.
kick in. But yeah, this was like 10, 15 years ago. This person said you go live with some other transgender people for a while. That'll give you a sense of whether you want this lifestyle or not. That's
Mm.
how she put it.
Mm.
And at this point, I had like I did my own research on psychology and other things. So there are a bunch of different theories, and sometimes people will hate me for saying this, mentioning this theory. It's called there's this one theory called AGP, which is completely considered nonsense at this point, but it is still a very analytical theory. It talks about how most of transgender women are basically some men having a fetish of being themselves female, some
Mm.
weird fetish. It's a thing. But yeah, what was I saying? Yeah. So I thought that's what I heard and tried to ignore it, and I was able to ignore it. That's I don't know. I sometimes I wonder if it is just my. It's a lot of credit to my own the way I was brought up and able to just ignore parts of me and stuff, feelings and stuff. Yeah.
So you at in 2000, roughly around 2010, you had the sense that you wanted to understand why you were feeling more female than male. Is that correct?
Why I had this uh, urge to cross dress, which is I mean, which is the word that would come in. Now today it feels like this doesn't feel like cross dressing, but yeah,
Mhm.
back then it felt like cross dressing, and
Uh,
yeah, I would that will come up and go on once in a while, and I'll just ignore it. I learn to ignore it after a while. Yeah.
so you had this urge to present as a woman,
Mm.
but you must have been fighting it because I mean, there's obviously there's social pressure. There is, and you were by then married. Is that right?
No, I got married in 2015, 5 years after that.
2015. But around that time, you must have been in the dating pool at least. You must have been like, okay, actively seeking partners and all that. And was it tough for you to know that, though you're supposed to, if you were straight, then you're supposed to chase after, if you're a man, you're supposed to go after women. And if you're a woman, you go after men. And you are like, okay, I'm confused in my heart. I feel that I should present as a woman, but I'm also being pushed by society by my straightness to sort of think about women in a different
But
way.
I'm not straight. I
Huh?
never was straight. I never was straight. The thing
Understandable.
is, somewhere in the middle of college, I realized I am maybe a bi curious in the sense I have a little bit of attraction towards men. Maybe like I don't know, I wouldn't have put a number back then. Today
Mhm.
I'd put it like 10 or 20% attraction towards men.
Mhm.
But that's pretty much it. And it took me a while to actually accept it. From 2000, they say 2 or 3 around the times when I figured it out. It took me at least 2006 or seven till I started working and came to Bangalore, moved to a little bit thing, explored a little bit here. But even then, it was only a smaller amount of attraction.
Okay, so now I'm curious. You grew up in Madurai, and Madurai is the smallest near not in Madurai, near Madurai. So that must have been a really small town with a small population. Did you find like-minded people at that point? Because these
No,
thoughts could not have been new. Okay, so how
no,
was it in those small cities, in small cities like Jamshedpur,
I
Madurai?
I didn't even seek out. The thing is, this is all we don't really have. Not just mother. It's not about small town. Also, it's also the fact that we don't talk about sexuality or even sexual activity to kids or people who get into puberty or teenagers.
Mhm.
And it is taught in even the most primitive. I don't know. I mean, I hear this is very common in, at least based on a Reddit understanding of US also. Even the sex ed, there is very, just do this, don't do this, that's, and it's said normally is what I hear. But the thing is, I feel like we are doing a disservice to a lot of our, I don't know, next generation by completely not having any kind of education about sexuality, consent. I feel like Fry's model of consent should be a standard at,
I,
13
I
years or 14. Yeah.
I didn't hear that word. What is choice model? Is that what he said?
It's called a Fries model, FRIES. If you look
Fries.
it up,
Okay.
each of the it's acronym standing for each of the letters stands for something.
Mhm.
Free F stands for freely given. R stands for reversible. I stands for okay. I don't really remember all the letters at the moment. See, side effects of not being dating for a while.
Mhm.
Yeah. Uh, Yeah, so basically, thing is, I feel like this consent model and basic understanding of different facets of sexuality will solve a lot of, at least simplify a lot of problems. I'm not sure solve, but yeah, solve is probably.
Okay, so you growing up in a small town, you didn't really have access, you didn't have knowledge, you didn't know anybody who was dealing with the same thoughts or this
Yeah.
confusion. So what happened then? So were you just acting out? Were you still a good guy?
I just learned to bottle it up. I just learned to hate that side of myself as a, it's just an obsession with sexuality or whatever. Because we encourage children to hate sexuality, right?
Mhm, mhm.
As a cultural thing.
Right,
So I just learned to do that, and I just learned to confirm for a while. I went to boys' hostel for my plus one, plus two,
right.
98 or something. It was a dormitory, and that put me into full-on depression. I didn't realize it was depression. I was just getting sick every week or something.
Mhm.
But yeah, somehow I managed that, and then boys' hostel again in engineering college. I somehow, I think at some point I started becoming very hyper focused on okay, getting a job, finishing college, being financially independent. That's it. That's the only hyper focus I had till I came to Bangalore.
I see. So, okay, this was 2000. Now we've reached basically 2010. You finished a degree. It was tough, but you finished a degree. You found a job. How was this feeling that now you can actually explore who you really are and cross dress if you want to, present as a woman if you want to? Was this surround your family, your friend circle? Did they know this about you? Did your parents know at some level that there is something that you're not able to express fully, and now you're able to do it?
I feel like okay, this is not actually 2007. These things have came a little later, 2016 or 17. But
Mhm,
let me answer the question of my parents, right? I feel like my parents have been. See, we all follow life scripts.
mhm,
Most parents follow life scripts. We say, okay, I want to retire by 40, 50. I want to get my kids married off by some age. I don't want to take on the headache after that. And my parents are going with it. In fact, when I came to Bangalore, like couple of years after only, my parents were like, "You also want to get married?" They're looking for a match for my brother, and they were like, "You also want to get married?" I'm like, "No, I'm not getting married anytime soon." But I feel like there was, as the time as I kept postponing no, saying no multiple times, they had some things about something is different. They were asking, are you in a loving, are you in love affair with somebody or something? I'm like, no. But yeah, I don't know what they thought, frankly.
mhm. And what do they think now? I mean, are they accepting of it? I'm sure you must be getting the support you
They
need.
are playing don't ask, don't tell.
So they ignore it. They don't acknowledge it. They okay.
It's
And
actually very funny. Okay, I'll tell you a story, right? This January, my dad was sick and that he had a minor stroke and stuff. My mom was in hospital. I had to go. I was going because I'm the only kid who is actually in India. My brother is not even in India. So I go and I go for support and hang out with them. My mom is so obviously my friends support my mom. My mom is introducing to the supporting network, whatever she has formed with other patients, supporter things. It's like this is my second son. They are looking at me and say, like, "Okay, ma'am, thank you, ma'am." It's very funny. I'm like, I don't know how to react to this. Should I cry or laugh?
so what do you do? I mean, you would want your parents to at least understand and acknowledge the fact that you present you are a woman now. how does it, what do you think in your head? You said laugh or cry, but on a daily basis, are you trying to convince them, listen, accept me for who I am now?
They don't live with me, which makes things easier. They don't want to move to Bangalore. They have never wanted to move to Bangalore. But I have given up. I feel like, in fact, I have this joke, another thing. I have three kids, one 80-year-old, one 70-year-old, and one 9-year-old.
Right. So that must be tough in that case to
It
not have.
is, it is tough. It is tough. I was actually disappointed with how this played out when I came out or tried to come out or whatever. It became a debate and argument, and not even debate. It was just like my dad was like, I have seen kids like that. You are not one of them.
Mhm.
The thing is, there is also a problem with the whole, what is this? Cis versus het. Yeah, cis het sexuality versus thing. Right? For cishet straight trans woman, for example, this could not have been. I could not have graduated. I would have been forced to come out at some point much earlier than I was.
Mhm.
Hey, wait! I should share this link to more people. I forgot. Yeah, uh, yeah. So basically, I feel like in some ways my sexuality was both a curse and a blessing. But yeah, it helped me graduate and find a lot of financial independence before I even figured it out. But it also got me married and made my life complicated comparatively. So
We're going to talk about the marriage because definitely something that I was not, uh, I didn't know how to process it. And I mean, to have a transgender person with a family, with a child of her own, with a woman, it's a little, for me, it's, I'm still trying to understand how to think about those things, and no offense intended. But I
Mhm.
want to ask, you had a very complicated and don't ask, don't tell, let's not talk about it, let's sweep it under the carpet kind of relationship with your parents. Is that true of the majority of the transgender community?
pretty much, it is majority true. There's a smaller minority that is a lot more accepting. It's slightly changing a little bit now.
Mhm.
What I am also finding, and uh, this chat happened with another set of people few weeks back, again in Bangalore. But the comment that came up was that they don't finances matter. If you make a lot more money than your parents and you are actually supporting your parents, they kind of don't have a choice
Mhm.
if they are depending on you financially. They
Mhm.
just try to not make a deal out of it.
Mhm.
So I feel like there's a lot of socioeconomic factors that are also coming in the picture. Part of it is, I feel like even my parents, for example, they will be a lot more open without the social pressure. If they have been living in Bangalore, it will be, if they move to Bangalore today, it will be a little bit easier. But they are not in the stage. Dad is too old to move out of that city. So
Mhm.
yeah,
So you feel that if they were in a bigger city with more exposure to trans people, it would have been easier for them to understand.
I am not sure as much as exposure, as much as it's
Friends and family.
what do you call, just restarting their social connections basically.
Okay, okay, understood,
You
understood.
don't have to explain the transition to somebody else.
Right, right.
So today I can kind of pass for a cis woman in some sense,
Mhm.
and yeah,
So,
that helps.
and how supportive and open-minded is Bangalore? It's a southern Indian city, and the stereotype is that South Indian cities are a little bit conservative. Do you feel it is like that?
That's a good question actually, because I don't have a very good answer to it because I don't think I have a good baseline to compare it with.
Right.
For me, Bangalore has always been my what do you call second city. I feel like I still am not a really a city person yet. I lived a lot of my life in cities, but I still don't feel at home with cities. And Madurai, for example, for all of it, it's a slightly overgrown village. Okay, I mean I love my Madurai. I'll stand up and fight for it, but uh, there's something about Madurai that still keeps some of the village charm,
Right,
which
right,
I had to admit.
right.
And yeah,
Uh, uh, Now that you're in Bangalore, and Bangalore has this, and again, this is going to start into your experiences in daily life. They have a policy that the women can travel for free on buses if you have an Aadhaar card for Bangalore. Your Aadhaar card has a Bangalore
yeah.
ad. Do you use that facility, or are you do the do conduct bus conductors ask you like, are you sure or something like that?
I used it a couple of times. No questions asked.
Okay,
Zero questions
so
asked. Yeah.
So do they check on the Aadhaar that I don't know. First of all, does the Aadhaar say the gender? I don't actually forget. I forgot.
Other has a gender.
Uh,
Mine already says female, and it has said
okay.
that like for a while. So the thing is, okay, here's another thing. Here's where legal factors come into the picture, right? So the way the legal acts played out in 2016, there was this big case called Nalsa judgment. There was this big case versus I don't know who was the parties, Supreme Court or Government of India versus somebody else. The thing was that the ability to choose your gender should be a fundamental right. That was the case.
Hmm.
And Supreme Court ruled in favor, said that you should be able to choose your gender. Uh, so in 2018, Indian they acted the government to come up with the act. Okay. The good thing about digital India or the Aadhaar card part, I have a lot of objections to Aadhaar card in many ways, but the good thing about it is that for that 2016 to 2018 part, there's a short period, like not the 2 years properly, some less than that. You could just go log into Aadhaar website, pay 50 bucks and change your gender. That's it, done. You can only
Okay.
do it twice, but you can just do it online,
Mhm.
nothing else needed.
Hmm.
But with 2018 Act, they complicated things with the whole bunch of you have to create a legal affidavit to get something called a transgender ID gender marker.
Hmm.
And then if you want a desired gender marker, you have to produce a certificate of medical certificate of what doctor has given you some treatment,
Right. Right.
which was not, it did not go well with the transgender community. There's a lot of fights and discussion happened, but government won basically.
Okay. And how big is the transgender community in India? Like what as a
Uh,
percentage of the population?
um, that's a good question. I would estimate it at least. It is definitely not 2% or something. It's probably it's closer to 5% is what I would estimate. Especially if you there's a lot of see, one of the things that happens is like just like us telling about my story, right? It takes a lot of time for people to figure out their own gender identity also.
Mhm.
And you think there's a transgender woman who cannot, I mean, who has married and stuff, not possible to realize. I know transgender men who are married, have two daughters biologically, and then transitioned.
Mhm.
So my age, slightly few years older and thing. I'm like 42 or 43 now.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So 5%, that's a very sizable population. I was thinking more like 1 to 2%, like you were
No,
saying it.
that's what. See, there's a whole bunch of documentation, a whole bunch of how many people have figured out themselves. Um, I feel like in an ideal, not too much stigma attached to our sexuality and gender identity and stuff. There'll be a lot more. It'll be closer to 5% than anything else.
Okay, so if you thinking an ideal world where the pressures of conforming were not on people, they'd be closer because more and more people
Mm.
of your age have realized that they are I don't know,
People, folks,
trans,
people, whatever. That's it,
trans.
other words.
All right. Now, you spoke about a doctor that you met in, I think it was Bangalore.
Ch-
Was it
Chennai, I
Chennai?
think. Chennai, I said, yeah.
Chennai. No, I know a doctor who believes that among children at least, gender dysmorphia and access to gender change therapies is overprescribed and over identified. Is that your sense also that
No.
their point was that um, girls in the age of say 12 to 15 are more exploratory in nature about their gender and sexuality, and they feel at that age that they're because it's I don't want to make light of it, but it's cool at that moment, at that age, to feel
No,
that
I get all of it. See, the thing is, can you see? Okay, now I bring in my data science experience. We have talked about too much of personal stuff. See, the thing is, one of the things that I have still stuck to it. I have been in data science, practiced data science for like 6 years, 7 years now. I have learned over the thing that is that there is data, there is story, right? You to find the objective truth, you have to switch between both. You cannot stick to one
okay.
because if you start with the story, it will shape how you collect data, how you run the experiment, what kind of experimental design you do.
Hmm.
It will shape all of those, which
Hmm.
basically leads to a biased data collection in a lot of cases.
Mhm.
One good example is how we forget about air pollution, we have been forgetting about air pollution and its impacts for a long time. But yeah, the point really is that any kind of data and story has to be switched between multiple times for decision makers, and which is also why politicians have, I mean, for if you want to evaluate a politician on how they are trying to be objectively truthful, you have to evaluate on what story they tell versus what data they are presenting, what data they are ignoring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why was yeah? In this case, in this doctor, I'll ask our doctor, what data does he have actually?
Okay.
Because it is not legal in India to prescribe hormones to anyone who's underage. The only thing that they can prescribe right now is called something called a puberty blocker,
Mm-hmm.
and that basically stops your body from producing your gonadal hormones, whichever testosterone or estrogen, whichever, which is basically delaying puberty. Uh, there is this case that at least a lot of my understanding is that there's not enough lack of evidence. There's lack of evidence that it is harmful in the long run to do it, because in the very long run it can harm the bones. The bone formation becomes messed up. Bone density doesn't form properly. Uh, but other than that, the claim is that it is reversible. The moment you stop it, your puberty will come back.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from the skeptic in me says I'm a little questionable because they don't do enough long-term studies in most medical things. Is a problem for me. But they have not also not been able to prove the harm in it. So I'm like, let children take doctors if they want to for like few years and then feel.
Okay, so you're saying in India, gender change is illegal, or the hormones for gender change is illegal until you're 18, but you can delay your puberty until you're
That
18
is
and
my understanding. I have not yet dived that seriously into legal part of it, frankly, medical
okay.
legal part of it. But this is at least the US standard. I know at least it was.
Yeah, Donald Trump is changing a lot of things. Who knows
Yeah,
what's going to happen in the US
yeah.
now?
The orange-headed con con artist.
Right, right. Well, it's 8:30, so I just want to take a quick moment to let the
Oh shit.
audience know. If you have any questions, if you have any thoughts to share, please feel free to jump in. And this conversation is different from the ones we had before, which is about achievements and all this about experiences. So please feel free to share your experiences or your thoughts. And please be mindful that I personally don't have a good vocabulary to talk about experiences that Nandini is sharing. So if I she's free to correct me, and if you say something that she finds can be phrased differently or asked differently, she might do that. So don't take offense on that. It's just we're trying to have a conversation without having heat in the conversation. So that's my only two cents on this. Feel free to jump in, comments, questions. Feel free to do that. Now moving on. Now Nandini, you said
Can
you're a
can I ask a question?
of course, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah. So, Nani, do you have any expectation like how, the common people means not the every you are also common, means how others should behave around, or any sort of expectation how is you know anything that you would like, but you find that often people ignore, like they're not even present to it like that. This should be.
I would see this actually is it's I cannot really speak for everyone in my community. There are a lot of different people have different expectations. I have very simple things. I just say my pronouns are she her. If you use they them, please stay 1 feet or 2 feet away. Because I have learned to be a little cautious about people who have trouble addressing me as she her. I don't know why, and it's proven really true also. Eventually, it just goes to a very weird, hurtful position for me. And I will usually finish this joke. If you want to call me he, him, please take Elon Musk and go to Mars. But
Hmm.
beyond that, I don't have too many of these things. If you just treat me as another human being, things will be fine. We will just get along.
And do you get that response? Do people treat you like another human being, or do you feel there's still room to
I
improve
feel like it has changed quite a bit over the last 2, 3 years. So the thing is,
in a good
it
way?
is no, in a good way. This is where the whole cis passing thing comes up, right? There's this whole idea called cis passing, or what you call look like a cis person, cisgendered person, right? Whichever gender you prefer. And this is a big thing in trans community. When I came out first, I had decided that so many other things in my life, I don't want to worry about it. And I really didn't focus on it. I still tried not to focus on it because it's as tempting as it is, I think it's harmful in the long run for the community. So I try not to focus too much on it. On individual, it's very
Okay, sorry.
tempting because
Nandini,
yeah.
focus on what? I didn't quite understand. Focus on it.
There's this concept called cis passing, CIS hyphen passing. Okay, it's basically passing as a cisgender person, whichever thing. And what really happens is that it is depending on so many things, so many factors. At this point, my body has changed so much that just as a visual ID check, I cis pass. So much so that this has happened in in Bangalore metro. Okay, I have this other friend who is a lesbian who presents very butch,
Mm.
very mask looking presentation, if you want to call it. Okay, we go on the women's thing. The security stops and calls her out, and she's like, "I am woman." Like, sorry.
That's good.
it is it is funny, but it is also reality, and I'm like, oh shit, feel bad for good. I have also, right. The thing is, I feel like this is a very we are trying to think too much in binary gender, which is a problem. I feel
Mhm.
like we should reform our education to start not using too many binary genders, or at least being aware that gender itself is a not a what do you call discrete value, it's a continuous value.
Mhm.
And a lot of people go to different genders over the face of life. I know gender fluid people who are like, hey, today my pronouns something else, and I'm like, I'll have trouble keeping track of all gender, all the pronouns. I'll just call you by name, simple.
Uh,
Yeah.
you were saying that India, or at least the society you're around, it's changing, it's evolving, and the treatment is changing. What is the difference between before and now?
I'm not sure. I mentioned treatment is changing. I feel like the treatment has changed. Okay, yeah. I was saying the treatment of me has changed, or how much my body has changed. So
Okay.
I don't trigger so-called alarms in people's thing till I open my mouth. The moment
Mhm.
I start speaking, my voice triggers alarms in a lot of people around me.
Okay. But in terms of, say, letting you sit, I mean, in Bangalore buses, they have some section, some seats assigned for women. They don't have any, like, those things
No
don't happen.
questions, no questions.
Right. Now, I have a somewhat related to what Shabana was asking. Uh, Many times when you go to the bus stop near where I live, there are cross-dressing people who want to take money from you, who want to ask you for money. Now, and I don't know how seriously, well, not say, is it, there are some people who say, "Hey, you know what, these are just men dressing as women because they want to make money." Okay. And there's also a population of people who are genuinely, they feel like women from inside and they cross dress for that reason. So, in your knowledge, is it like, are we just protecting ourselves by saying, oh, these are just men dressing as women? Or are we like, is there really, there is some merit to believing that these are just men wanting to make money but dressing as women and things like that? How do you interact with a person who's cross dressed? What should you say? Should you just, like, for example, if somebody else were asking me for money, you just say, I'm sorry, I'm not going to give you money. But with the cross dressing person, what do you say? How do you negotiate? Does that happen to you? First, I'm actually curious about this now.
They never ask me.
They never ask you. Why is that? Do they recognize that you're also, oh, I don't know. Why is it? Why
I
do you think?
mean, when they do recognize, some people recognize, some people don't. But when they do recognize, they have this internal rule: no money asking from, no money demanding from the community. They just
Okay.
smile, hi, and go. This has happened to me multiple times.
Do they like, is there like a secret signal? Like, we are the same team, dude. Oh,
Not really signal, but yeah, we don't really play all those childhood games. But
you know,
they
because,
most, yeah.
like, for gay people, I know I have some gay friends who tell me it's just, you just know when you see a fellow gay man that this person's gay, and there's no, not a signal, but more like it's just understood that we're both gay in a straight setting. We are gay people. Is it similar
No,
to?
I think this is a very interesting question, right? In my case, they observe my body and they can see my Adam's apple, for example. They
Mm,
can see all the nice, my smaller distinctions better, especially trans women.
mm,
Uh, but I don't think everyone gets it. I know a lot of trans women who cispa so much they have never told anyone that they are trans women.
mm.
The first trans woman I met when I was in Hyderabad was like that. It's called going stealth, and I'm like, okay, fine. But my first thought was it feels a lot of stressful thing to go stealth like that. But
Mhm.
yeah,
So is that like a term that the trans community uses, ghost stealth, then cis passing? Is that like common phrases?
The elite English speaking community, part of the community uses it.
So
But
what does the
then
non-English speaking community do? I mean, there's India
they have
so
their own language. They have their one whole bunch of language, which is a mix of so many different parts of India. You can see some words from Malwai, some words from Hindi, some words from Telugu, some words from Tamil, and I'm like, wow,
you
that's
mean you
uh,
mean words describing their sexuality, their gender? They're
yeah.
from no, can you give me a few? I mean, I didn't know this.
They,
Can you
they
give me
call it Kaudi Basha. They Sisa is like good, for example. I don't know all of them. That's my problem.
sorry, what is it? Cheesa.
Yeah,
Cheesa means good.
yeah.
Interesting. Wow. I
I,
mean,
I
it's and if you think about it, it makes sense. You know, every in group has its own language, but then to think that there is, I mean, for me, it's new knowledge.
no,
Um,
for me the thing is I'm not exposed to it. I'm one of those elite trans women, if you call it. I don't feel like one. I feel like I'm very average, but yeah.
and how is going back to the question of your parents obviously don't ask, don't tell. What about your friends? What about your office? Like in office, is there like a did you have any experience where like people are looking at you, which bathroom are you using? Why are you using the women's bathroom and all those things?
Uh, the thing is, by the time I started, I was out in office. I have been like halfway through my transition. I could kind of present as femme and pass as femme.
Mm.
So the thing I had in when I came out at our workplace, I don't want to name names again, company names,
No problem.
is that one thing I have faced with the bathroom is basically since you brought up bathroom, right? I didn't feel confident speaking up when somebody's interacting me in the women's bathroom.
Mhm.
I was like, no, my voice will. They all know I am a trans woman who joined the company. It was a big thing for the company, right?
Mhm.
But that's still in my head. I didn't feel the confidence. I don't think I ever socialized well at my last company when I was out, and I'm still figuring out in some sense. But the other thing I found was that, especially the couple of managers, male managers, I'm gonna point out a gender now, uh, were a little bit not listening, and I'm like, dude, listen to me. You're asking a question. He's asking a question. He's not getting the answer from somebody else. He's saying, I don't understand this. He's not getting an answer from anyone else.
Technical question, not like about your.
Technical question. Some algorithm. I forgot which algorithm it was. I think K-means. I think I'm not sure.
Mhm.
K-means. I don't know. One of those. I
I mean, it
forgot
means
which
that as
one.
a woman, you're not being listened to. Just like many
Yeah,
women.
he's like, I had to shout at him 2 times. I said, shut up and listen, dude. I'm more experienced than you. I've worked on this. I'm trying to explain to you why this needs this. He's saying, why, I don't know. I don't understand why this needs this. I'm trying to explain why that needs it.
Mhm.
And he's not listening. I'm like, you ask a question, you're not listening. What's the point?
Hmm.
Yeah.
So I was a long time ago. There was an interview on a show called This American Life about the transitioning a woman who transitioned, and they interviewed a trans woman, and she had said that when she was a man, she used to do a lot of mathematical thinking and scientific, not scientific, but it was like a engineering thinking. So she was saying that her brain, she could sense the brain transition that from like she used to find math interesting when she presented as a man, but as a woman it was different for her in her head. Did you experience any such like when I was a man or when I was fully a man, I guess I used to feel a certain way, but now that I'm a woman, I think differently. Is there any such experience?
This is a very interesting question, right? So, what I have come to learn over my transition period or my life also in many ways is that the way we think about thinking is very flawed.
Huh.
We keep comparing thinking happens only in brain. It's not in fact anything else. It's this ideal, what do you call? It's like an ideal computer that we have in the head,
Mm.
which is not true at all. By the way, I say this not just as a trans woman who transitioned. I say this as a mechanical engineer who got into IT and then quit and went to do study cognitive science. So I held a human brain in my hand, studied a little bit of neuroscience, not much.
Mm.
Uh, I think our understanding of human brain is much more limited than we think we understand.
Mm.
And human brain is not the only part is involved because there is this whole new research field that is claiming that we have so much nuance in our gut that we should consider gut
Second.
and brain as a continuous thing, right?
Yeah.
And if you ask me about transition and how that has affected my thinking, I would say I have become a lot more aware of my emotions, which has helped in some sense. It is also, so thing is with hormones, especially depending on how you take them, there's a cycle that comes.
Mm,
I take injections, which basically means as a 10-day cycle.
mm,
And just like uh, any hormone thing, in the cycle, there's a different mood switches that will happen. And this happens to men also. It's just that men have intraday cycle, what is called. In fact, there's a biology.stack exchange, which I have asked this question like 10 years ago. Do men have internal hormonal cycles? Not 10 years, 15 years ago, more than that. But yeah, it's still in my name actually. It's just the nobody's social. Thing is, they're talking about men have an internal testosterone cycle, which is it peaks in the morning and then comes down in the evening or something like that.
So what is this cycle? You said testosterone cycle, is it?
Yeah, hormone peak.
Mm,
So now, right now, I take like something like 10 days estrogen cycle, which basically means I take an injection. The for next few days, I have very smooth, right? The last few days, I have very low modes.
mm. It must be like,
Yeah.
sorry, it makes sense now, but now only when you said it did I realize that since you don't produce estrogen normally, you have to take supplements and injections. Is it expensive?
The pills are expensive. The injections are not expensive, but then they're not also completely above board.
Which you
I
take
get
it from the black market kind of thing.
I'm getting into from the gray market. It's a basically legal medication, but for some reason I don't find doctors willing to prescribe it.
Is that like a social? It's not hasn't spread enough, or is it like there's some social stigma against helping?
Not spread enough. I don't know what is. It's not infection to spread.
No, as in the knowledge that you need to prescribe this. I mean, maybe doctors don't know that you have to prescribe these or support these.
I don't know. I feel like the medical community in India is very undereducated compare when it comes to hormonal health. There's a whole bunch of uh, what we call dolls and think they're all, we'll just do it ourselves. DIY
Hmm.
hormones.
Man, that's scary stuff. So you have to
Yeah.
get your injections from your injected medicines from the gray market. Well, how did you find this person who sells to sell it to you?
There's a whole community of people who I meet and we have people. I mean,
You know
I
people.
don't. There's no way to. There's no one way. I didn't get it till like 1.5 years back.
So what are the pills that you eat do? The pills that you ingest, what do they
Yeah,
do?
that is basically Progenova, which is basically estrogen supplement that was invented or discovered, created, whatever called for postmenopausal women.
Hmm.
So most of the estrogen supplements I take are all invented for postmenopausal women,
Hmm.
not for trans women particularly. Which is also true of trans men. That
We don't have menopause. So where would we need?
it's just a minute. There is a testosterone thing. No, hey, just somebody's calling me. Why? I want to call. Yeah, sorry. Somebody was disturbing me. Neighbor. Yeah.
So you were saying so men also have a quote unquote menopause, is it?
No, it's not really menopause, but there is a dip in testosterone production after 40, 42, or
Yeah,
whatever.
not man. I'm 40 plus. You're saying, but T levels are going to go down now?
It does go down. I don't know. You talk to an older man. Huh? Don't talk to dad. I mean, it does go down at some point.
Right.
Depending on how fit and how exercising and all the things you maintain can stretch it, but it does happen. And men do take testosterone replacement therapy.
I see.
I'm sure you have seen this Jeff Bezos picture, no?
But he got worked out. He took steroids, I'm sure. He looks like the Hulk
Yeah.
now. Steroids, I'm sure.
No, but the thing is, okay, if you look at this is funny actually, right? Testosterone and estrogen for all this talk about all these things, the chemical sector is not that much of a difference. It's like few
Hmm.
one OH group versus one hydrogen group. That's all.
Hmm.
If you look at the chemicals, the thing is, depending on what you take, your metabolism converts it into different byproducts at some point in the level,
Hmm. Hmm.
and though those all have different effects.
Okay.
So when you
So
talk about steroids, some of the steroids are actually byproducts of both testosterone and estrogen after the metabolism process them. So yeah,
hmm.
sorry, it's just
This is like a science learning hour for us. Uh,
yeah, I'm a nerd first. Okay, I have to give this disclaimer. I'm a nerd first. Everything else afterwards.
all right, we only have about 10 minutes left, and I do want to talk about the fact that you are married and you have a daughter. How was that? Like, how did that come about? What does your daughter feel now? What is that situation like?
Just a minute, this neighbor is being insistent. Just a minute.
No one knows.
I am on a call.
Yes.
What do you want to know? Yeah. Yeah. I am on a call. Sorry. I'm on an office call.
Just give me a call.
Yeah.
Just message me, okay?
Okay.
Just message me when you get.
Yeah. Sorry.
No worries, no worries. So I was asking that your family situation now is that you must be divorced by now. Yes.
Uh, the other person is not willing to get to divorce.
All right, no worries. So you
So
are
I'm separated now.
what Facebook says it's complicated. You're in that situation right now, right? How
Yeah.
about your daughter? How is she reacting to all this?
I haven't come out to her. I have tried to not. I have been playing the don't ask, don't tell with her, basically generational trauma, if you want to call it. But I haven't really spoken about my gender identity with my daughter yet. I just put on a t-shirt and jeans and go
Or
home.
5 or 6 now?
She turns 10 in 2 weeks.
Oh, 2 weeks. Happy birthday, daughter. What would be when would you if you were to talk about it to your daughter, what is the appropriate age for that, do you think?
I don't think there's the appropriate age. I see the thing is this is where I have always had this problem with life scripts and age appropriate ages and stuff like that. I think people change, people's maturity changes over time differently. I would prefer to just follow her curiosity. One of the reasons I have not particularly tried to push this coming out thing on her is that I would prefer to be there a lot more regularly than what I am doing right now. I go about once a month and see her. I would rather be staying close and see her every week or something like that before I can put this on her, because I have suspicion that she'll just say, ah, okay, whatever.
Ah,
From what I know about her.
after all,
Uh, Sorry?
after all, you are her parent. It's more likely like, yeah, of course, whatever.
No, thing is, I feel like children are a lot more accepting than adults.
Mhm. Do
Uh,
you
till
sorry, again, one more, like now this is this question. Do you think of yourself as a dad or a mom, or what do you think of yourself as? Like, I have let me explain the question in more detail. I have a son, and
Mm,
my wife, obviously, she's protective. I'm also protective, but I'm also more willing to make sure that he pushes his boundaries a little more than what my wife is willing to do. So
mm.
I'm thinking I'm being a dad by exposing him to risks and teaching him how to manage risks. Though it might be, I mean, it's not like it's a set thing, but that's my impression of what dads do, exposed to risk and manage risk. What do you do? Do you also be protective, or do you be more, okay, go explore. If something breaks, if you hurt yourself, we'll fix it after that. Where do you stand?
If you want to put it on a dad mom thing, I think I am being dad in some sense. But to be, it doesn't need to be labeled as gendered thing, dad mom thing. I feel like my natural default is that some risks are okay,
Mm.
because this is my learning from my. I think I talked about working for 2.5 years and getting sick, right? That my learning from it is that avoiding risks is only a very short-term strategy, and in the long term, it is much more risky than
Mhm.
actually taking risks. So
So you feel like you're still allowing her to take risks and manage risks and
yeah,
teaching her that side of life. Okay.
because I know the other counterpart who's super conservative in many ways, and yeah, it's one of the biggest problems for me right now with my divorce and other things, that child custody is a big thing. I want shared custody somehow, 50% somewhere,
Mhm.
and the other person is not there for it, not even ready for it.
And are the
And
courts willing to even listen to your point of view on
no,
this?
no, no, they have called me crazy multiple times. I was talking to them for a while, but I had to put a block that for my own mental health, I'll stop talking to them. I had to completely block the number, because she started using my daughter to tell me to go kill myself and stuff like that. So at that point, I had, okay, fine, I have to draw a line now.
But do you get to, you said you meet your daughter once a month. Is it for like a good amount of time or just like 20 minutes, have
No,
coffee
no,
or something?
I go spend time. So the thing is, my daughter's not living with her mom per se. Her mom works in Madurai, but she's living with her mom's parents in
Okay.
Tirunelveli, near Tirunelveli.
Okay.
So I go spend time with them. Uh, I have come out to my I'll call her ex-wife, ex-wife sister, and I don't know how supportive she is, but she can see that my daughter needs me, so we're just doing something there.
It's stuff. I don't know how to. I hope it all works out.
Yeah, I'm giving a very, very high-level summary because I don't want to get into emotional.
All
After all,
right.
this is called funnily enough. So yeah.
Oh, we change topic. Yeah, we don't have to stick to this if we don't want to talk about it. Guests, please feel free to ask questions. This is your question hour, interview hour as much as mine. So please feel free to ask any questions you have. Any thoughts you have on the your experiences with the trans community and things like that, please feel free to share.
Yeah.
Prem, go ahead.
Yeah. Hi. I'm
Hi.
Prem. I'm from
Hi,
Malaysia.
Prem. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I am 67.
Okay.
I had two biological kids. Then I became father to three adoptive kids. Was transition. In fact, I must write about it one day. But my second phase, when I became adoptive father, I was in a transition period because I'm 67, right? So my eldest daughter is 40, my son is 38. Now, their mom and I, we separated when they were very young. So I told her, come, let's go and see a counselor. Let's find out what is going on, in our marriage. She had someone in her life then. He said, no, 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 you can't go there because he will try to make you look like a loose, and then he will try to grab your kids. That was not my intention. My intention was co-sharing. You do your part, I do my part. I was very time constrained at the time. So this time when I became an adoptive father, I went and sought out the number one shrink in Johor Bahru. Raju may know him, Dr. Karir. So he asked me, yeah, what can I do for you? I said, this is my transition period. I'm trying to be a hero here. I'm trying to be a dad mom. I'm trying to bring up three kids who have gone through a trauma of losing their biological father to cancer. So he put us on this counseling for the kids, for me, for Bharti. We went through the whole lot. The trauma that a family goes through at the loss of a breadwinner, one of the breadwinners in the family is tremendous. And to pick up the pieces, I realized the wisdom of listening to Dr. Kadir's advice. He's written 5 books. He's a good shrink. And he used to give me a lot of notes to go back and work out the exercises so that I could adjust. So it's not just a passive thing. It was a very proactive thing. We had to go on a monthly thing. At one point, I even had to take antidepressants. It was sometimes too much. I went through a lot of phases. Well, the kids are grown up now. They're able to talk, they're able to think. It's interesting to listen even more. My question was, did you go to any phase of seeking out counseling help to adjust your environment, like uncooperative spouse? She is bewildered, maybe. You also not trying to make sense of things. People accepting you, not on certain terms. So how did you seek any help
Yeah.
from? Yeah.
When I was in Hyderabad, and initially Hyderabad's where a lot of the coming out happened and things happened. I sought a couple of therapists. Uh, the initial therapist was not even talking about counseling; he was just talking about my gender dysphoria diagnosis and stuff. She was in one weird phase of. I mean, again, okay. I no. I may sound like I complain too much, but this is the truth. Okay,
True.
she's she's a top psychiatrist in Hyderabad. He's recommended by a queer person. I didn't even go just blindly. And she was asking like, if you think you're bisexual, why do you want to transition your body? And I'm like, you idiot! Did I even read DSM-5? Do I have to take it and throw it in their face? I mean, I literally wanted to say all of this. I didn't say any of this. But the thing is, they were thinking very simplistic terms. He was thinking in terms of it's just a body, two bodies matching and thing. And I'm like, it's not how that's not a thing. If you know lesbian relationship works, you know why that transition matters for a trans person. You should at least be able to imagine. But yeah, anyway, at the end of the day, I gave up on therapist or psychiatrist, especially medically. I think I started seeing a counselor here in Bangalore after coming here like 2 years back. But I realized very quickly that talk therapy is not my best suit. I'm too hyper to. So this is where the neurodivergent part comes in. I think we haven't even got actually tested. Usually I focus on it when I meet someone. Uh, I fall either on the AUDHD spectrum or ADHD spectrum. I think there's an online ADHD assessment I took with my psychiatrist monitoring, and he said we're probably on the ADHD spectrum. The AUDHD is something I have guessing it's a little bit more accurate than just ADHD, but yeah.
So therapists didn't really mean talk therapy and psychiatrists didn't really help.
Yeah, so I've been doing a bunch of, I go running very regularly. I also play badminton. Those have become a lot more useful. I also do a lot of improv theater, and that has become another way of figuring out what I'm feeling. Yeah.
And you were saying before we started this interview that there's a queer badminton league that you play. How's
Yeah,
that?
it's super competitive. So this by the way happens, right? We talk about gender-based domination exclusion, right? Queer Badminton League deliberately tries to not do gender-based game matches at all. They just ignore it. They just do mixed. We can call it mixed doubles. They just do teams, and then teams match like and team captain decide who plays against who. Right?
Acha, okay.
And the thing is, you still, if you go to Queer Badminton League, you'll see a lot of cis men, but gay men, cis gay men. And the competitiveness that being on T brings is something much different than competitiveness that people on E bring. And I've seen it. And being on, having been on both sides of it, uh, it's a very interesting dynamic to watch. And there's a lot more cis gay men than this is very true of most square spaces in Bangalore. You will always find a lot more cis gay men or some non-binary person who is still running on T, quite a bit of T, than others.
A person using T supplements, you said they have different aggression levels. Is it like more physical? What kind of is it? What is it?
I don't think it's aggression level as much as yeah. I didn't say they are the aggression level. Okay, yeah. This is a very interesting point, right? I've been doing some research in it. There's somebody called Robert Sapolsky, who's a Stanford University professor, who's a biology professor and then evolutionary biology, so many things. Okay, he talks about it very clearly in some example. He talks about how adding T to a one individual in a species or a social community doesn't increase the level of aggression. I mean, it does show up as like increased level of aggression, but that is only in summary. It doesn't increase the individual's aggression level because it's very obvious that he's talking about hierarchy A, B, C. Let's say alpha A being alpha. He's talking about chimpanzees. Okay, they had done the experiment. They gave extra T to a chimpanzee in B position. The B chimpanzee started getting into a lot more fights, but never with the alpha. Always with the C and D.
Oh, okay.
So his theory is that uh, extra T actually doesn't increase aggression; it just increases the obsession with status and it rewards that. Since our society is set up on rewarding status, it increases the level of defensiveness you become about your status.
More protective about your status and things like
Yeah,
that.
that's his theory. About you can look it up online. Robert Sapolsky from Stanford University. Talk about Christie. Yeah, it's fascinating.
It sounds really interesting also. It's 9:06, and I think this is pretty much the end of the line for this interview. But Nandini, thank you so much. I really appreciate the time you took and the fact that you were pretty open about discussing your life experiences, answering maybe stupid questions, maybe insensitive questions with as much.
Not so much. Not so much. It's fine.
For us, we just bullheaded. We just go into it and ask because we don't know how to talk about these. At least in my case, I don't know how to talk about the trans community in general. But it's nice of you to come talk and be open to discussing things with us. I really appreciate that. If anybody else has any feedback or any thoughts to share with Nandini, please go ahead and do that. It's nice that we got this opportunity to interact with you, Nandini. Shabana,
Just one last comment. I deal with because I'm a Miss Beautiful Smile. So in the pageant, I have deal with a lot of. I'm still dealing with a lot of differently able. So myself, I call I don't whether I've been called as a
All the
trainer,
stress.
all the stress. I've been called names. I've been called everything else. But um, what my pageant founder told me is this: be yourself and don't let you are amazing, and don't let other
Thank you.
people think you otherwise. So I feel, Nandini, you are amazing. Whether
Thank you.
you're transgender or whatever, you are amazing.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
kudos to you. And that's all I can say. And
Thank you so
Thanks so much.
have that smile in you. Don't let anyone stigmatize you.
much. Anybody else has any thoughts to share other than that? Shabana, over to you if you want to close out the conversation.
Thank you so much, Sai, and thank you so much,
I'll
Nandini.
just add something before
Yeah,
closing up.
yeah, please.
Sorry. So thanks so much. It's been a very nerdy conversation, and I'm happy about it because I don't do this much nerdy conversation with a lot of people. It's been a while since I had nerdy conversation. I think transition has started people made people think of me as very, lot less nerdy than I am.
Okay, can I ask you this question? Do you feel people have an expectation that you are the voice of the transgender community, or you're supposed to be an icon for them in non-transgender spaces? I mean, do you feel some pressure on you that I'm supposed to be their representative when I talk to straight non-trans people?
People get curious, and people tend to assume that one person's experience is very common.
Mm.
And I try not to do that. I deliberately, so this activism when the Kolkata Ajikar issue was happening. We were protesting, we were organizing a protest. For example, I went there. It's a very queer-led and very women-led protest. But still, everybody was like, I represent this group, this organization, and I'm like, I represent myself. I'm
Mm.
Nandini, I'm a trans woman, I represent myself.
Mm.
So I feel like there's a bunch of things that happen, and sometimes people do expect it. But I'm also saying the thing is this is where my cognitive science degree comes in, right? Because when I graduated cognitive science and came back and started interacting with people, I said I have a cognitive science degree. They were all like, oh, tell me about it. And then they'll assume what I say is gospel. And I'm like, no. I realized what I say is not gospel. It's just some I understand and my part theory. And
Mm.
people are still debating about it. People are still studying it. People are improving on it. It's
Yeah.
changed.
Okay.
So I just use the same rule here.
Mm. So you speak for yourself, not for the trans community in general. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, I have some sense of community, but I don't know all the community people. There's a lot of terms I even don't know. There's a whole
Do,
bunch of things.
do you sense any um, so there are obviously there'll be even in any community there's a spectrum. There's people who want to interact with a wider community, they want to engage with them, and there are some people like, we're happy the way we are, we don't want to engage with the broader community at all. Do you sense that about the trans community also? There are some people like, screw the real world. I mean, screw no, I'm judging the real world. Screw the non-trans community. We're just happy the way we are. We don't need that. We don't need to be part of their spaces. Do you sense that?
I don't really sense it too much because I think that's not a very practical stance for any trans person to take.
Mm.
It is a practical sense for non-trans person to take it because a lot of trans. So this is what I have noticed. Okay, non-trans community people tend to either approach me with some fear or curiosity. That's only two emotions I see them radiating. See, this is another thing I have good thing about transitioning. I can sense the emotions radiating from them much better.
Okay. So
Yeah.
so you don't feel that, it's not practical to say, we're just going to be happy the way we are. We don't need the outside
See,
community.
it's a level of social and economic privilege that most trans people don't really have.
Mhm.
And there are few who seem to have, and even for them, social privilege is still not there. Social privilege pretty much nobody has.
True.
Even the Okay, I'm trying to avoid names. This is one Instagram influencer who is very famous trans person, who is economically very well off, socially also still pretty much in the high society, you can call them. But even when they post reels, you can see the social issues that they're facing. And I'm like,
This person in
yeah,
real, is this person in
sorry,
real? Is this person you talk about? Is she in real estate? I think
no,
you might know who you're talking. Well, maybe not. Then we don't
no,
have the second point. Okay.
common sense. They are
All right.
Insta, but yeah, I'm trying to avoid names. Yeah,
No, that's okay. I mean, totally understandable. All right. I think I can keep asking questions because there's so much to talk about.
Yes, yes. Getting
So I think it's a good time. Shabana, if you want to close it out, please. Go ahead.
yeah, please. We are both nerds, so
yeah. So thank you for sharing, and it was really interesting and very, it's important also to know and connect. And thank you so much. And I think we can close now because it's already 9:12. So thank you so much, everyone, and see you again.